Hi, this is Sonia from An Enthusiastic Reader. I am here to do a Friday Reads, believe it or not. I'm filming this on Thursday. If I look the same as I looked in my Remember December video, it's because I'm just filming these back to back. So no pretense. I thought I'd just do all the filming at the same time. And so here I am to talk about 3 books that I finished in the last couple of weeks and what I am going to read next. So want to get started. I reread Sue Grafton's first novel in the Kinsey series called A is for Alibi. I have read all of these books before. I would read them when they came out. Every year I would read the one that was published. So it's been many years since I've read this. It's the first book. It establishes Kinsey as this kind of hard-bitten private detective who gets involved in all kinds of crazy murder stories, and she works as an investigator for the police department, so she shares space with them, and she talks about her apartment and her landlord. And for the most part, it was not a bad story. It doesn't age particularly well. Kinsey is very judgmental of people and writes incredibly mean things about them. Sometimes there is a clerk in the motel where she's staying, and she stays there a lot, and the clerk is very fat, and Kinsey is so mean about her and what she thinks about her and how dumb she is and how silly and stupid and just what she's eating, and she has no control. It was just unbelievable. And I don't remember what year this book came out, and I will put it on the screen, but it had to have been in the late 80s or early 90s, and I guess that's just how people talked about other people back then. And I will be interested to see if I read any more of this series, or if I reread any more of it, if she gets a little bit more empathetic or a little bit more sympathetic or has any kindness. She is a very hard-boiled character. I remember she has a very troubled family past, but she's not nice, and it's not for the character's sake, and so I'm not sure. I gave it 3 stars. I'm not sorry I read it, but I also had a hard time with some of it. The next novel I finished was fantastic. It was a 5-star read for me. It was The Bee Sting by Paul Murray. I really wanted this to win the Booker Prize, but it did not. This is a family saga set right after the financial crash of 2008 in Ireland, and it's a family, a mother, father, daughter, son, that they own a car dealership that is going down the tubes because of the financial crisis and for some other reasons too. And the novel is chopped up into each character's own perspective. So Paul Murray's playing a lot with POV. The first section is from the teenage daughter, the second section is from the teenage son, and the third section's from the mother, and the fourth section's from the father. And then they mix up. The chapters start getting a little bit shorter as the book goes on, as all of the backstory of these people's lives are revealed, and all of their secrets and all of their motivations and their hurts. And it's so immersive and so well written, but it is very fast paced and it's very plot driven. So there are character studies, and you really do get to know the characters very well. But I would say that it's got some momentum. You couldn't take months to years to read this book, because I think you would just want to keep going and find out how it all culminates at the end. But I really enjoyed it. I don't think, if you haven't read it and you don't know much about it and you're interested, don't find out anything about it. Just read it, because things are revealed along the way that are informing, and it just really adds to the whole experience if you kind of go into it blind, as I did. So that was really successful. And the third book I finished, I saw Kim from Middle of the Book March talk about this series that she just discovered, and it's called Blue Monday by Nicci French, and apparently Nicci French is a married couple that writes under that pseudonym. And it is the story of the protagonist is a psychiatrist. And I love books about therapy and psychiatry and counseling and anything like that. I always feel like I'm a fly on the wall for these things. I also love TV shows about this, like Couples Therapy is a fantastic show. I just like seeing the dynamics play out between the therapist and the patient. So, but in the meantime, she's also involved in helping investigate a crime. And so she is a character who has a very troubled family past also, but she doesn't reveal any of the reasons why in this book. And so I'm hoping as the series goes on, as I read them, you get to find out more about what happened in her family that caused her to be detached from them, and also just more about her psyche. So she is very quiet, introspective character. She doesn't have a cell phone. She doesn't want to be connected to technology. She loves, loves, loves the city of London and all of its grime and hidden nooks and crannies and alleyways. And she walks in the middle of the night because she is kind of an insomniac and she's very in her head. And so she's a really interesting and compelling character. I really want to see her story grow as the books come along. Some of the mystery in this particular book was a little bit predictable. Like I could see some of it coming, but I don't care. I really enjoyed this. I read it in 3 days. I couldn't put it down. I just thought it was very propulsive. So those are the 3 books that I finished since the last time I did a Friday Reads. And currently, I just started Northwoods by Daniel Mason. I think it's going to be good. I don't know if I'm in the headspace for it. We're going to find out. I read the first 2 stories or the first 2 chapters, and it does take some concentration to figure out what's happening. So, can you come over here? Can you come over here? I'll pet you. Okay. Another book I'm reading is Hilary Mantel's book that just came out. It's a collection of her writings called A Memoir of My Former Self, A Life in Writing. And what it is mostly, she wrote a lot of columns for London newspapers like The Guardian and other newspapers. And so these are some of her columns and some of her writings. I would say most of them are very short, just maybe 800 words of her thoughts about different topics, politics and other books and writers and just life in general. So she has a brilliant mind, and I love seeing it played out in these pieces that she wrote that kind of helped support her while she was in between novels, I guess. So that's really great. And I'm going to be starting Old Filth by Jane Gardam. If you didn't see my December Remember video, this is a theme that's going to be happening in December on BookTube, where people are rereading books under various prompts. I read Old Filth and I read The Man in the Wooden Hat, and then there's a third novel in the trilogy which I have not read. So I'm going to be rereading for sure Old Filth and The Man in the Wooden Hat, and then to see if that will compel me to read the third novel. So Old Filth is one of my all-time favorite novels. It's the story of Edward Feathers. He is a retired barrister, and as the story unfolds, we get to see his entire life. And it's not a very long book. I'd say it's fewer than 300 pages, but you get to learn so much about him and his character and his marriage. And then the second book in the trilogy, The Man in the Wooden Hat, is about his wife, and it's her backstory. So I've been jealous of other people reading this book this year. I just felt like I really wanted to read it again. I just couldn't really fit it into my prescribed schedule. And so this is the perfect opportunity for me to pick that up again. So I think that's all I have to say for now. This is a short wrap up, probably because I didn't put it off for 2 more weeks and have 4 weeks worth of books to put into one Friday Reads video. But that's all I have for now. Please tell me in the comments anything you want, and I'm so glad to see you here. Thank you so much for watching my videos, and I will see you soon. Bye.